A major AEW success, WWE on Netflix's creative control, and John Cena Buries talent. I knew it! I've been trying to tell everyone this for ages. Oh, he had a good US title run, and then we all forget. John Cena is the bad guy. He's always been the bad guy. And I'll be reviewing Raw. Luke and I were there live last night. Here's a romantic photo of us on a weird walkway thing. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Triple H got a definitely not worked surprise when Undertaker and Shawn Michaels showed up at a WWE press event back in January to reveal he would be this year's Hall of Fame headliner. We've had numerous other names for the class revealed since then, like Michelle McCool, Lex Luger, and the Natural Disasters. But now the person who will be inducting Paul Levesque has been revealed. Very fitting for the man's career, Triple H will be inducted into the 2025 Hall of Fame class by Triple H. Paul Levesque is expected to cover all of Paul Levesque's most pivotal career highlights in his induction speech, like when Paul Levesque created the Attitude Era, when Paul Levesque created The Shield, when Paul Levesque more recently created professional wrestling again, and, of course, when Paul Levesque refused to be part of the infamous DX Blackface segment on Raw. April Fools! Ha ha ha! I got you with an April Fool's so funny. Because our actual opening story is how AEW viewership is actually double what everyone's been reporting. Come on guys, that's too obvious a joke story. Conan told me so. Wait, it's potentially real. With all the attention being on Raw's move to Netflix at the start of this year, the other big wrestling streaming deal got lost in the shuffle. On the 1st of January, AEW Dynamite began its simulcast era, being broadcast live on TBS and the streaming service Max at the same time. You would think that being available in two places would affect the TV viewership negatively, but if anything, Dynamite's TV ratings have actually gone slightly up on average. And AEW's Revolution pay-per-view earlier this year drew the company's biggest buy rate since All In back in August, with an estimated 135 to 140,000 buys. This all suggested that AEW being on Max is growing their audience. And now we have our first report as to by how much. SE Scoops is reporting that AEW is averaging around an additional 500,000 viewers on Max since it debuted there in January. Combined with live cable numbers, this would give Dynamite an average of around 1 to 1.2 million viewers per episode since it was added to the streaming service. If true, that would equal Dynamite's highest ever audience back in the glory quarters following CM Punk and Bryan Danielson's debuts in 2021. In a sign of the times, any positive AEW news right now is met by fierce discourse around its credibility. The journalist behind this story is BJ Bethel, who initially broke AEW's new TV deal last year, so he does have a proven track record there, specifically on AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery news. Interestingly, BBC Newsbeat asked Triple H about how WWE's streaming platform, Netflix, influences the storylines they produce. Levesque replied, saying Netflix have no input on the creative direction of the shows. All Netflix decides are how long the show is, when we go off air, or what time we're on air. And presumably, which stars of Love is Blind get shown in the audience. But never mind watching wrestling programming on TV or online, go touch some grass, as I think people say. Luke and I went to watch Monday Night Raw live in London last night, and here's my review in about 5 minutes. Before I get into that review though, I'd just like to say a few words on how much better WWE is now. I went to see Raw live at the O2 back in 2017. It was a very bad episode. Dean Ambrose and The Miz were made co-general managers, the matches were boring, the show felt way too long, and everything just felt kind of half-assed for the people actually there in attendance. It's a big reason why I've not been to a WWE TV taping for the 8 years since. Was overwhelmingly awesome. Yes, it had the all-time Cena and Cody segment. Yes, it had CM Punk in the dark match main event. Yes, it finally had a decent Gunther versus Jay angle. But what really struck me throughout was all the care, thought, and attention to detail getting each audience member into a peak state of engagement. The hyperactive lighting design, the hype video packages they only play to the crowd, the pyro. I felt like I lost myself for a moment. Whenever people used to ask me, I'd always say, don't go to a TV taping. House shows, yes, they're fun. TV tapings, not enjoyable. They're paced badly and not meant for a live crowd. But now if anyone asks, I'll be telling them to do a TV taping no matter how expensive it is, because f*** me was it expensive. But I saw the drone. I saw the TV drone. It popped huge. A quick main event taping out the way, and the main show began with the Netflix logo, which weirdly might have been one of the things I popped loudest for all night, and then, just like the last 2 weeks of Raws, properly started with John Cena's entrance music. He soaked up the nuclear heat from the London crowd. But just as he was about to talk, Cody Rhodes made his entrance too, smiling like a doofus. I was worried. My big problem with Rhodes these last few weeks is that he doesn't seem to be that pissed off about being attacked at Elimination Chamber. And, more annoyingly, when he is pissed off, it's with Cena letting down the fans rather than with what Cena did to him. So when Cody went right into a comedy self-roast about his lisp and neck tattoo, I was worried. So thankfully, with Cena's last advertised appearance before WrestleMania, they pivoted from a storyline overcast with The Rock's shadow to a personal blood feud based on jealousy and a decade-plus-long student-teacher relationship between Cena and Cody. Cena destroyed Rhodes. He started speaking low like the great Jake Roberts to masterfully control the audience. He said how he doesn't bury talent, he buries mediocrity. He called Cody overproduced, generic, and a sociopathic nepo baby. He said, in my favoritely delivered line of his heel turn so far, that Cody was nothing more than his chauffeur. When he used to drive him round back in the day, Cena made chauffeur sound like the most insulting word this side of Loki swearing in Chaucer in the first Avengers movie. It started to seem like a repeat of when Cena destroyed Roman Reigns on the mic back in 2017. Roman needed a pandemic to fully recover. Here, the crowd started cheering for John to win at WrestleMania. He was so intense, which is why it's so great that Cody then gave as good as he got in his reply. Cody said the fans chose him, but Cena was chosen by one guy in an office who's not here anymore, and we don't talk about him. He's talking about Vince McMahon. That Cena's a company creation, not Cody, and that Cena's got more dick in his promo than he has in his jorts. I don't even know what that means, but it's provocative. Cody said it was Cena who made so many disenfranchised fans like me that Cody left to start a new promotion. He said Cena sold out to The Rock, at least briefly mentioning that's a huge part of this story, and that Cena is still his hero, but he's also a piece of S-word. Cena had the best line though, somehow referencing Vince, AEW and Tony Khan in all one comic book supervillain level delivery. I built empires for billionaires. All you did is take money from their kids. Cody said that at least the fans never chanted at him, "You can't wrestle," and they got physical for the first time since Elimination Chamber, with Cody laying Cena out with a crossroads. This was the best segment of their feud so far, and it was a privilege to watch it live. Tyler Bate then made his return from injury. He's from this country to reunite New Catch Republic with Pete Dunne to take on the New Day. Bate's return from injury on his home turf, however, was just used to reheat the New Day's heel momentum as they go towards the War Raiders for a Mania Tag Team title shot. Gunther then mostly dominated Jimmy Uso, having the match won twice with a powerbomb and a lariat, but breaking the count each time. Gunther finally won with a choke. Jay chased off Gunther so medics could tend to his brother, one of those medics being British indie wrestler Rio, who was very noticeable by her bright purple braids. But as Jay was helping Jimmy to the back, Gunther attacked them both, cable tying Jay's hand to the ring rope. While he beat Jimmy so bloody, Gunther started to look like the prom scene from Carrie. It was a good angle live, but for me it did feel overly long. Watching it back on Netflix though, it's so much more emotional, as you can hear what Jay and Gunther are yelling to each other during the beatdown. This is the emotional hook this feud needed. How will Penta and Bron Breakker coexist? That was the story of their tag match against the supposedly on the same page Judgment Day. Bron accidentally speared Penta and Finn Balor pinned him to win, marking Penta's first pinfall loss in WWE. Penta? More like Pinta? Am I right? That was Luke's joke. Backstage later, Finn was happy with his win, while Lady McLiv told Dom he should also be going for the IC belt. Adam Pearce booked El Grande Americano for a match next week in Chad Gable's home state of Minnesota. While AJ Styles and Logan Paul didn't have the all-time great mic skills as Cody and Cena, they sure had the crowd heat. Paul got so many boos and chants like "Prime is S-word," it was the only time on the show I couldn't actually hear someone. They brawled and Logan stood tall as the crowd chanted, "YouTube wanker," which I can only assume was directed at Luke. Later on it was confirmed they'll be wrestling at WrestleMania. And the main event saw Io Sky defend her women's championship against Rhea Ripley, with Bianca Belair as the special guest referee. Bianca showed she was impartial early on, laying down the law to them in equal measure. The match really picked up in the final third, with Rhea headbutting an Io dive out of midair and busting out Damian Priest's moveset with a razor's edge. But then came the shenanigans. Bianca got bumped by Rhea, missing a visual 10 count off a riptide, and then Io missed a top rope dropkick onto Belair too, causing Bianca to call off the match with a lame double DQ. Ripley stood tall with riptides at the end, keeping the question unanswered of how she'll be added into the Mania title match. And then we got CM Punk versus Ludwig Kaiser for our dark match main event, which was a bit of fun. A great episode needs 3 memorable moments, and this had the Cena Cody segment, the Jay Gunther angle, and a fun main event. This week's Raw is 85%. Just as a heads up for tomorrow's video, we'll have a pre-recorded WrestleTalk news special, while we react to our almost entirely wrong WrestleMania 41 predictions we made before the Royal Rumble. Right now though, watch Dom and Sully play prop hunt on Call of Duty with a twist. They can't stop moving. Here's a clip.
Yeah, this is fine. I think they've gone.
I think they're out.
Oh, there's one there. You want to go back the other way into the basement. There won't be anyone in here. There's someone there. Flashbangers and mash! Flashbangers and mash! Quick! Flashbang! 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 3 quick succession!
That was horrible. It was so horrible. It was so horrible.
Got stuck on the door.
I hated it so much.
Up the ladders. Up the ladder.
Up the ladder.
That's
We go.
Oh, flashbang! Flashbang!
Oh my God! Just hello. No.
I think you're doing very well. There's only 10 seconds left, Sullivan. There's only 10 seconds left. You can do this.
Oh my God.
Oh, no! Flashbang! Flashbang! Flashbang!